long was she alone?
Too long.
How did you do it?
I couldn't have done it without all of you. I just followed your instructions and taught myself quantum science, computer engineering, and so much math.
Look at you, kid. Brawn and brains.
In all that time, she found more than her friends. She may have found her calling.
Welcome, everybody, to Deep Space Pride, a gay Star Trek podcast. My name is Mike. I am one of your hosts, and with me is Johnson, my co-host.
Hi, Mike.
Hey,
How's
Johnson.
it going today?
It's going all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I mean, I'm not, quarantining at home with my boyfriend.
Right.
like some people.
Like me, yes. Isolated.
Isolated, from my boyfriend.
And half of the apartment, yes. Yes, it's been interesting. We went from him coming back from vacation to him testing positive for COVID to isolation, and yes, it is.
It's Texas's fault.
It's Texas's fault, exactly.
Basically.
I
I was like, wait, why do you have to go to Texas? Oh, because you don't like Texas. So
no,
go somewhere alone. What was it? Like, the agreement was that he could go somewhere if it was somewhere you didn't want to go or something.
But also it had to be continental United States so that if he got trapped somewhere, he could drive home.
Why not like Florida? I think Florida's better than Texas.
I mean, he wanted to go someplace he hadn't been. And he was inspired by Queer Eye for this Queer Eye season, which was in Texas.
I see.
Yes.
Got it.
So, yes, a convolution of different factors. And,
got it.
And he thinks that he knows where he got it, but, you never can be sure. I guess
you never know. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at one of the restaurants, I guess the waiter was coughing and they weren't, I don't know if they were...
Oh.
Yeah, it's sort of, kind of gross. So, but anyway, here we are. He's got, one more day of complete quarantine and then 5 more days of still wearing a mask all the time. So,
got it.
But we'll stay, I'm going to be sleeping on the couch for another almost week. So
that's suboptimal.
So, yeah. Yeah, because he's still technically contagious, or could be. And I have a trip that I cannot be sick for, so...
The one with all the kids and the children?
The one with all the kids, yes. So I need to stay healthy. The service project, yes. The service trip. So yeah, so I need to stay healthy, and I need to be able to go into Marble on Sunday, February 6th for our commissioning and whatnot. So
fun.
Yeah, so I need to stay healthy. So we will continue this until, although I did get I did do a test today out and about that I'll get the results for tomorrow. So
like a PCR test?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the world we live in. So
I know, but I feel at some point everyone is just gonna get it. So it's like almost like whatever.
Yeah, I know.
I was actually listening to The Daily today because it's one of my favorite podcasts, other than our own, of course. And no, there was this guy on, and they were talking about the statistics of it all, but they were also talking about polling, and it was really interesting where he was also looking at it from obviously a political lens, and he was saying obviously Republicans underscore the seriousness, the level of seriousness of COVID, but that Democrats overstate it. And at this point, if you are double vaccinated and boosted, the level of risk to you with COVID is actually less than the flu. So according to the latest information that they have.
Interesting.
So it's interesting, but obviously I think, for many Democrats, especially people in New York, because we've been, I think, there's a little bit of PTSD with COVID.
Right.
It's hard for us to get over this hump that because we're now at this point, even with all these safeguards and vaccinations, we still have this idea that is very serious to us, even though, we are vaccinated. So it's just interesting.
I mean, it's really interesting because two of my friends actually went on a gay cruise in the last week. And
oh my God. Okay.
I
would not go on a cruise right now.
I wouldn't go on a cruise. Yeah.
I probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I'm particularly risk averse, but a cruise just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, bad idea. And if you get quarantined on a cruise ship, like
you
what
can't leave.
The hell? Yeah.
You're like stuck at sea.
So two of them, one works for Atlantis, and one went as a participant. And so I haven't seen pictures from the participant, but I saw pictures from my friend who works for them. And, it's just a sea of guys.
Of course.
On the dance floor, with their shirts off, and like a sea, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's just funny to me. Like Dennis goes to Texas, has dinner at a restaurant, and gets COVID potentially from a waiter, and all of these thousands of men go on a gay cruise, and
right.
Not that I guess we'd never know if they got covered or not, but
I wouldn't be surprised. But I would assume that if it's a gay cruise, they're being particularly vigilant. But who knows?
So so it's just an interesting world we're living in right now. Yeah, no, I can sort of see what you said that the reporter was stating, about the people being overly
the partisan
cautious.
Divide of it all.
Yeah.
Because it's basically very polar. I think it's to the point where it's overly extreme at this point.
Yeah.
Where there could be some sort of middle ground that's like healthy, but here we are.
That's not the world we live in. So but I am trying to actively avoid it right now. So,
fair.
Yes.
Well, especially you have a trip coming up. It makes sense.
Yeah. And I'm one of two chaperones. So it's not like there's not really an option. So I really sort of have to isolate myself for a little while.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's the excitement here.
I can't believe it's almost February. That's crazy.
I know. We
need to plan fucking Chicago. I keep on saying this like every week, and we have done nothing.
We have done nothing. Yes, we have done nothing. Yeah, we do. We should probably get on that.
Why don't we keep on talking about it, and then maybe one day we'll actually plan it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Zero planning, but we'll talk about it, and then we'll, worst case scenario, we can just jump in the car and drive out there and
wait, do you want to drive out there?
No, I mean we can, but we don't have to. I mean, if we still have the car in April, which I don't know if we will, but
I didn't consider this as a possibility.
Oh, I mean, it's sure. I mean, sure, it's a possibility, but it doesn't have to be a reality. I'm just saying, like, we could decide at the last minute, we didn't want to spend ticket money or whatever, and just drive out there. And but you don't drive, so it'd be me driving.
I don't drive.
So I
can sleep in the back.
We'll probably fly. You can sleep in back with Hamish. We'll bring Hamish.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Sorry.
Sorry,
not sorry.
So, all right. Well, so there's a little bit about what's going on with us. But let's talk a little bit of Star Trek.
Yes.
And so last week,
I wouldn't mind starting a new podcast all around the Gilded Age, which is now my new obsession, but whatever.
But we'll say that for an off-topic discussion. So,
sure. So we need to start a podcast for basically, well, we've lost our opportunity to start a separate podcast for The Expanse, but definitely The Gilded Age. And now you're obsessed with Euphoria. So
I am obsessed with Euphoria.
I'm sure we can talk plenty about Euphoria.
I don't feel like I know enough about the world of Euphoria. It seems so alien. It's like
it's so far removed from my reality.
Yeah,
like I was watching season 1. I haven't started season 2 yet, but I probably will now that you're watching it. I'm like, I'll probably watch it. But there were just a lot of things happening in season 1. I was like, I have no idea what these guys are talking about. I have
there's so much
going on.
So, but let's not get off topic. Let's talk about talk about the Picard season 2 trailer.
Yes, the Picard season 2 trailer, which feels like it came out forever ago, but only apparently came out 5 days ago.
Oh, did it only come 5? I don't even know how many days. Days and dates now mean very little to me because after being on my own with Hamish for a week and then Dennis coming back and then back on my own, I don't even time seems irrelevant to me right now. So, wow, 5 days ago.
Yeah.
But we did just watch it again to refresh ourselves. I feel like I could watch it still by still and still not catch everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you think? Did this get you more excited for season 2?
Yes, I like this trailer a lot more than the first trailer we saw. It did help that Guinan was in it. However, I couldn't help but feel like Whoopi Goldberg has obviously aged because she was a human, not Elorian, and she is not the same Guinan. Like she feels a little bit sassier. Because Guinan was never sassy. Guinan was always, other than in Time's Arrow, which is a little bit different because that was 200 years. How many years?
She was younger. Yeah,
she was younger. She was almost 300-400 years younger or something because that was early 19th century, maybe. Yeah. Late 19th century or early 20th century. I don't remember. But she was always just calm, and even in dire circumstances, she was just, still water, right? Just calm and placid. But here she's just much more sassy. She, she's a little bit shadier. You can feel, it's just a little bit different. So I which I don't mind, but I was like, oh, she's a little bit different because Whoopi Goldberg's different. Whoopi Goldberg has aged. So.
Well, I mean, Picard is different too. Picard, everyone's sort of different.
Yeah, he's human.
Yes, okay, I see. I see.
Meanwhile, Guinan is how many hundreds of years old. So you would imagine that, even when we saw her in Generations, she was this which was really the last time that I saw her, other than a glimpse of her in Nemesis at the wedding. She's just been very calm, in her character portrayal. So it's just a little bit different. But I don't mind it. It's just it's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, but we didn't see that much of her. We saw some, a little conversation, but I don't, I think it's too early to get a full picture of her.
Sure. I mean, the 2 scenes that we got of her, she was definitely sassy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm all for it. I like her. I love her. I love Whoopi Goldberg.
Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I'm so I'm excited about her. What else did you see? What else were your feelings about? Guinan was one piece of this, but we have some other pieces. So there's obviously there's seems to be time travel, right? Well, definitely time travel because they're going back to 2020, 24. Yes. But we get a scene where there's some starship attacks, so there's some space battles.
The one thing I really want to, because it feels very Mirror Universe-y, it feels very Terran Universe kind of Terran Empire, because we have that. Because yes, we get the La Sirena, I can't say it properly, getting attacked by, it looks like Federation of ships, but I guess it's more Mirror Universe / Q timeline ships, because it's trying to slingshot around the sun, which that got me excited. The slingshotting around the sun. Yeah. I was like, yes, thank you. Something, some sort of throwback way to time travel. But the whole kind of setup, and we got a little bit of this obviously in the first trailer, but I felt it even more in the second trailer because you feel that, you know, they're stuck in this like mirror timeline, and you see this painting of the Enterprise D, but not Enterprise D, attacking maybe Borg ships, don't know. So I think we're in a world where the Federation, pseudo-Federation, has defeated the Borg collective, and like that's why they have Borg Queen, maybe. That's a gist I'm getting. That's my guess.
Earth's got this weird shield,
right
around it.
There's like some sort of like, some like a lot of pentagons around Earth. Something going on. So yeah, I'm like, how are they going to differentiate this from the mirror universe, in terms of the vibe? And we never got to see the mirror universe in TNG era, but you know, that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah, well, we did see it in the near timeline with Deep Space Nine. So we
Deep Space Nine we did.
Yeah, so we you know, I didn't even think about the mirror universe factor about this, so that's interesting. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm really excited to just see where they go with this, because everyone's kind of out of place and out of time, and they don't seem to be together, or they're split up. So
right.
I'm also really excited about seeing Laris again. Love me some Laris.
I'm glad we got a little bit of her.
The Borg Queen is...
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's me. Fine. I'm not that excited about the Borg Queen.
No. I think I've made my peace with the Borg Queen is not like a major player in this season. Like, I feel that she's kind of getting thrown in for a little bit of fan service, but she's not like, I don't think the Borg is a threat,
Yeah.
This season.
I mean, yeah, exactly. No, I don't think that they're the threat either. But I do miss some Alice Krieg. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to the actress who plays her.
You can see how she's kind of channeling Alice Krieg a little bit, but no, she's not Alice. I mean, but it's been a while since Alice. I don't know how to even say her name. Alice Krieg, Alice Krieg. I don't know.
No, I think it's Krieg. Yeah,
is it Krieg?
Yeah, I think it's.
I don't
Krieg.
even know how to say it. But it's been a while. I mean, we got her an animated version of her in Lower Decks.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
one thing that is interesting that some commentators have pointed out is we're now jumping back to, we know the exact year, it's Earth 2024. And is it going to have anything are we going to see the Bell riots? Because that's what we saw when in DS9, they went back to 2024. And that was a critical time.
Interesting.
If you recall, in past tense.
Yep.
So I don't know. We know that Star Trek is pretty good at retconning. They're okay with kind of pretending that things didn't happen. So I don't know if we're going to see that or not, or if that's going to be a part of the story. I kind of doubt it. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't.
I'd kind of like to know if this is the overarching thing for the season. I mean, it's only 10 episodes, so I would imagine so, but just that Q alters the timeline. I mean, that's essentially, or the road not taken, as he calls it in this trailer. So what road is not taken here?
I mean, I guess I'm thinking we're probably going to spend like maybe 2, maybe 3 episodes in mirror timeline, and then we go back to 2024. I don't know. There's
a mind meld with a kid in the woods.
Oh yeah, don't know what that's about.
Which is still too early, or is that? I'm trying to think. I don't know what year the Enterprise episode was where they were back in time.
I think that was
2045.
Are you talking about when T'Pol? When it was
so before first contact, this whole story. But I'm trying to think.
T'Pol's ancestor visited Earth. I do not remember what year that is. I think that was 20th century.
Yeah, it was before first contact.
It was before first contact, but it was I don't think it was early 21st century. I'm pretty sure it's 20th century.
All right. Well, Anything else about the
Now I need to know. Carbon Creek, 1957.
Oh, 1957?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't realize it was, I guess I was thinking it was in between our time and 20.
No, just remember, like, they didn't even have, like, you know, they.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
They had like this old TV. Yep. It was like.
Yeah, you're right.
Everything
was
old looking. Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting my timelines confused. It's a lot to keep track of.
A lot to keep track of. I understand.
You know, we're over 800 episodes here, and
I understand. It is a lot. If you think
it is a lot. Yeah. So yeah, I can't keep it all straight. But Carbon Creek, I enjoyed that episode actually.
I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that. It's something else.
Yeah. So it's not that. So, but there is some woods and a kid being mind melded with, and
right.
So there's that.
The Q giving Brent Spiner something.
Oh yeah, like the blue pill from the Matrix almost is what the vibe I was getting. Yeah. So there's that, which probably a Sung ancestor.
Probably.
Definitely not the guy from Enterprise. Or no, he's too old to look like he'd be a younger version of the guy that we saw in the Enterprise.
Are you talking about the geneticist?
Yeah. Who's a Sung, right? It's a Sung
ancestor. It is. I don't remember his name.
But
that's too late.
Yeah, that's too late. Yeah.
That.
All right. Well, I'm excited for it. March 3rd. So about 5 weeks away.
Yeah, we're going to be up to our eyeballs in Star Trek.
We are. Yes, we are.
We're going to have to talk about Discovery and Picard for a few episodes.
At the same,
that's
how much they overlap. That much?
I think there's like 2 episodes or something, 2 or 3 episodes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow. I've not figured out the schedule. I can barely deal with today and tomorrow and this week. Yes, I can't figure out Star Trek schedule. Just tell me when something's on. That sort of thing. That's fine.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. It's been over 2 years
since Picard.
Yeah.
Wow. I guess it's been a long time.
It has been
2 years ago.
So 2 years.
Yeah, it was like the start of the pandemic, right? That we got season 1.
Yeah, I mean,
was that 2020?
Yeah. No, but this was. I mean, before it started in China at this time, but it was not yet a thing in the U.S. But yeah, we're looking at 2 years now. So you and I have been talking.
January 23rd was.
So just a couple of days ago. So Sunday just a few days ago. Sunday was the 2-year anniversary.
2020. Wow.
So you and I personally have been talking about Star Trek for slightly longer than that, but it really started when Picard started.
Yeah.
When we would text and ask questions and have this big long discussion through text before Slack and before the podcast. So it's been 2 years. I hope we won't have to wait 2 more years for season 3.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, they're already filming it, so
right. So that's primarily the news. There were some toys or previews for Playmates toys that they're coming out later this year. We'll probably see them at Chicago.
Mara Janeway on Star Trek Online.
Oh, yep. Mara Janeway. Yep.
That's cool.
She looks like a badass.
It's too bad that neither of us play Star Trek Online.
We don't. So. We don't. So it's just a nice little tease.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's primarily everything for the news. I think we talked about all the releases and everything last time, or we've got a lot of Star Trek coming up. So, and we still have to talk about Prodigy. So this week's Prodigy. So why don't we get into that and start to talk about episode 8 of season 1 of Prodigy, called, let me get it right, Time Amok.
Sounds good.
This is a waste of time.
This is a riddle that needs to be solved. You must work together to get a fox, a chicken, and a bag of grain safely across.
Oh, why can't we just row them all across and get this over with?
Because if they're all in the same boat, the chicken will eat the grain and the fox will eat the chicken.
If you take the grain first, that leaves the chicken and the fox. Oh dear, that won't work.
Mr. Foxy wouldn't hurt a feather.
Jacob's hungry. Let's eat the fox.
It's my duty as captain to listen to my crew, but when they say stuff like that, gonna ignore
If we take one across, there's no rule to say we couldn't take another back.
Getting warm. Imagine if you tried working together.
Bad, Mr. Foxy, bad!
Cool.
So, Johnson, you are great about laying out these episodes. This seems to be one timeline. I say timeline, but there's not
like
really
one storyline.
One storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all of the characters kind of exist in. So, I have to say I really enjoyed it. I watched it again this afternoon to kind of refresh because
I only seen it once. So,
but I think it's a pretty fun episode. A lot of truth comes out, and also some answers as to how the diviner might have gotten on to the protostar, or obviously.
Do we get that answer?
Well, I mean, so Dreadnought gets
but he was kind of cagey because Jamie was like, "You're the one that erased a memory," and then Dreadnought was like, "Close, but not exactly," something like that.
Oh yeah. So
how did I watch it one time and I remember that, and you watch it twice and you misremember?
Because I was working at the same time that I was watching it.
All right, well, I can't help you there. But no, we didn't really get any true answers. It was kind of fuzzy.
Right. So okay, great.
I'm just saying. No, I don't think we got any true answers when it comes to the diviner's relationship with the protostar. So that's still this big outstanding mystery that I don't know is going to get resolved in this 5-episode chunk, or if we're going to wait until the end of 2022. But
yeah, who knows? But some truth comes out in this episode, and Janeway accepts the crew as her crew, even though they may not be Federation cadets as they previously lied about. So that sort of came out. Mm-hmm. Another holodeck episode, or part of the episode, was on the holodeck, which I was even before I started watching it, I was trying to think through the chicken, the fox, and the the grain puzzle, and I think I figured it out. But it's definitely one of those interesting
it's
puzzle
kind of like
riddles.
Teaser,
brain teaser. So that sticks with me, and I wish they had kind of explained. I wish Janeway had kind of laid it out for them. So
Zero kind of got it. Zero was like, "Oh, but there's nothing saying that you can't bring two things across at the same time."
Right.
So
Or
that's your clue.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Right. So there's that at the beginning, and then they start to go into this tachyon storm. And as we know in all of Star Trek, why do people take ships into tachyon storms?
Yeah, I feel they could have easily just gone around it.
Yeah, right.
Instead, they kind of just go into it.
I mean, it should be pre-programmed into every starship. You see a tachyon storm, you avoid it at all costs.
Or at least stop the ship. Like, don't keep on going in.
Man, so many lessons.
But we need drama, so.
Yeah, and tachyon storms provide lots of drama, from split timelines to, any number of mishaps and challenges. So I thought that was an interesting way to kind of do that and to upset the protostar's proto engine, and then boom, we're in this weird timeline where they all exist at different speeds.
Yeah, I thought this was an interesting setup. It really reminded me of that Voyager episode, Shattered. Do you remember that episode where Chakotay is displaced, and then Voyager, there's like all these disparate timelines existing within the ship?
I don't remember that. I remember Parallels doing the same sort of thing with Worf.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, I don't remember the Voyager one.
Yeah, the Voyager one, only because you had like different parts of the ship. Like we saw, like that's when we saw like adult Icheb. Remember? Do you remember that vaguely?
No, I don't. Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah.
Seska came back. This was a season 5 episode. Yeah, season 5, season 6 episode.
Nope. I must have jumped over that and we're watching some Voyager. Then I did.
Oh, it's actually not bad. It's not a bad episode.
Hmm.
It's worth watching. But basically, yes, something happens. There's some sort of discharge, which really wrecks the ship. And then Kote gets hit with a discharge directly. So he's able to traverse all these different timelines. But he's going from one part of the ship to another, and he's running into like characters from the past, characters from the future. It's interesting, but it kind of reminded me of that a little bit.
Okay, and
he's trying to like make them all work together, because you have, for example, Janeway from the past, and she's like, "Why are the Maquis on this ship?" You know, and they need to basically all work together to try to like fix the ship. So he's trying to get them all to like figure it out.
What's the name of this episode? Do you remember?
Shattered.
Okay, we'll have to check it out. What did you think of the science behind this?
It's dubious at best, but it's fine. Because, for example, if Rok-Tahk is, you know, if her relative speed is really, really slow, she's not going to be able to use computer. You know, she's not going to be able to like, even like, I question like if she can breathe. Like, there's a lot of physics, like, you know, that would be problematic. Like, there's no, like, why would she be able to, like, if she was traveling very slowly, how would the computer like be operating at her pace, but then also work for everyone else? Like, there are just things that like don't really work, but it's fine.
I thought the sign.
It's like they're basically all out of phase, right? They're basically all out of phase. That they're like the Davidians. It's like they're all operating out of phase, so they can't see each other or interact with one another. So that's basically the setup. Even though they're all on the same ship.
I thought the sine curve, as we'll just call it, or whatever it is, of the timeline, like Jacob was the first one, so he was the fastest, and then the next one was Rock.
It was interesting.
She was slower, and then we had Zero, and then Dal, or no, maybe it was Zero, and then
I think
Murph.
I think you're right. I think it was Zero, Dal, and Gwen or something.
No, but Murph was in there too, so I think.
Oh right, Murph was in.
Yeah. So yes, and then Gwen, and you know, one of my favorite parts of this episode is at the end or two things. You know, Gwen apologizes to Rock for forcing them to, you know, accept a certain role on the ship. And yet Rock is inspired to do all these studies to be able to understand and fix things.
I know, she got like 3 PhDs basically.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah. So I'm also kind of like, how old is Rok-Tahk now? Because what was she, 8 maybe or something? That's
something like that.
Starting.
Yeah.
So is she, you know, how much time exactly passed for her? So is she still the same age? Like, I have a lot of questions about that.
Well, they did reference 200. She did reference 286 times. So I don't know if.
Well, attempts to reactivate Janeway.
Right. Yeah. So I wonder if that's also like, you know, sort of an indication of how long she's been on her own. But they didn't really say it explicitly. No, even Gwen asked Janeway how long she was together alone, and Janeway says for too long.
Right.
But I do like the dynamic between Gwen and Rock about this, you know, her finding her path and her purpose and whatnot, and not being forced into something, and how Gwen understands that.
Yeah, no, I like that. You know, keeping in mind that this is a kids show and there are probably going to be moral lessons in every episode. I thought this did a good job. I mean, it started with basically them having to figure out how to work as a team and how to communicate and do things together. So obviously they're thrown into this crazy situation where they need to communicate across space-time and, you know, work as a team across space-time. But then you also have the whole Rok-Tahk storyline, which is, you know, not, you know, don't read. Basically, it's kind of like don't read a book by its cover. Like, Rok-Tahk didn't want to be a security officer just because she's the strongest and the biggest. That's not the role she wants to be in. And at the end, she's able to kind of save the day and surprise everyone by doing things that no one else was able to do. But then she was able to do things that she didn't even herself. Like, she was able to surprise herself and kind of overcome her fear and her insecurity. So there's a lot of moral lessons in here, which I am fine with.
Yeah, I think they did a good job of, that whole piece of it. I felt like it was simple enough that you could understand it and get a picture of it.
Right.
And yeah, I think it would land with any audience, really. So
yeah.
So in the end, we get it. Well, also, so we have Dreadnought, who gets created in the next to normal timeline.
I thought that was interesting. I thought that was an interesting way to kind of have the diviner still be a threat, even though I'm glad at the beginning they acknowledged they're too far away for us to go to them practically. Yeah. So they kind of found this workaround, which I thought was very ingenious, actually.
Yeah. So the question is, how did the code get in there? Well, which is still a question we had from before. There's some code in the Protostar.
Dreadnought knows Chakotay's codes too, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting as well. So
yeah.
There's some.
I thought that was. Now I'm like, oh no, I hope Chakotay's okay. We have no idea where he is.
Yeah, we don't know where he is. And then, at the end, we get the Dreadnought's eye lighting up. Very Terminator,
right?
Like at the end. So we're not done with Dreadnought.
No. But I mean, to be honest, that would have been the first thing that I would, upon returning to normal time, that would have been one of the first things I would have checked in on to be like, hey, let's try to fix this first, because it's an immediate threat.
Well, so I mean, technically he went into outer space, right? So he was blown out. So I don't know what this other head is in the.
Well, I think that it's hard to say because it deals with this timey-wimey nonsense. But the way that I read it was he wasn't able to fully construct, actually.
Okay. In one of the timelines, he wasn't able to,
something.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, basically the ship actually blew up in almost every single timeline.
Right.
Things like reset,
Yep. Yeah.
Whatever. True. It's all nonsense.
It is all nonsense. But it was an enjoyable episode.
It's enjoyable. I liked it.
And we'll see so we get 2 more episodes and then we're back to Discovery. So one tomorrow, and then the mid-season finale.
Yeah, that went by fast. Wow. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're like we said, we're at the end of January already.
No, remember us still complaining about Discovery going on break?
And they're almost back.
Yeah.
So they'll be back in 2 weeks. Wow.
And we will not be here because I'll be in LA for that.
Oh yeah, we haven't figured out the timeline of February quite yet.
The timeline of February. Yeah, I suppose. But I am hoping we get more of this diviner mystery solved, and then we'll probably be left with some sort of cliffhanger.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see a cliffhanger that we will have to wait until mid to late 2022.
Who knows? My gosh.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that does it for Time Amok.
We didn't. Yeah, I mean these episode titles. I know I mentioned those.
I think we talked about it last time. This one is.
But these episode titles. I mean, I'm personally a fan. I don't know what you think, but I think it's very clever.
Yeah,
trying to pay homage to old Star Trek.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's cute, and this one, it's. I mean, it's true. It is Time Amok. So I mean, it's just I thought it was an interesting title.
Yeah, like the last one was First Contact, but it was also a con. Very, very clever.
Right. Yeah, very, very clever. So tomorrow's episode is called The Moral Star Part 1.
Ooh, 2-parter.
So, yes. So, we will see what happens then. All right. Well, we had said last week that we were going to move on and talk about one of the things that we didn't talk about last week in our off-topic segment was the Book of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett? Boba Fett? Where?
So...
Okay. I didn't realize we were going to talk about that today.
Yeah, we said we were. Last week we said we'll talk about the Book of Boba Fett. So we're going to do a small little off topic. We're just going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett. We're not going to get into the Gilded Age or Euphoria. We're just going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett. So a little bit of off topic. The Book of Boba Fett. Johnson's going to go on a rant. I'll just preview that right from the beginning. So
I'll restrain myself.
Oh, will you? So a few days after Christmas, the Book of Boba Fett started, which is a 7-episode.
It's only 7 episodes?
I think it's only 7 episodes.
Sure.
Season. But so I actually did watch this afternoon because I got an email about from comicbook.com. I get their news, like their news alerts or whatever in my email, and they leaked something about the episode. So I was like, oh man, so I watched it. But I won't talk about that. So we've got 4 episodes to talk about. So how are you liking the Book of Boba Fett so far?
Oh, chapter 5, Return of the Mandalorian. I mean,
all right,
that's
so
literally the name of the episode.
Yeah,
that just came out today. Okay, yes. Well, that's
so that. But it's funny because I saw
I didn't watch it yet.
I saw the Mandalorian in the news thing, and I stopped reading it and closed it right away. I didn't want to anymore. But I was like,
the episode. So.
Yeah, well, no. So all I saw was. I don't think that the article's title, it just said maybe it did say the Return of the Mandalorian. I don't know, but I was like, okay, I don't want any spoilers. But anyway, so you haven't watched this episode yet, which is fine. Let's just talk about the first half of the Book of Boba Fett. What have you thought about the storyline in general? Like, what are your thoughts on? And then we'll talk a little bit about the characters. But let's just talk about the story arcs so far.
So, I've never been a huge Boba Fett fan. I feel like, obviously he was in the original trilogy, and I think that he has a lot of fans, but I was never like on this Boba Fett train. So when they announced the series, I was like, all right, sure, I'll take it. I think it is fine. I'm fine with it.
You're not loving it?
No, I'm not loving it. It's not. It hasn't hooked me in like the Mandalorian has. I feel that the Mandalorian, there was just, I feel they got some start with Baby Yoda, right?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
From episode 1, that came out of nowhere. No one expected it.
Yep.
And everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
The biggest secret ever in Star Wars, besides Luke's father being Darth Vader.
Right. And I think that for the Mandalorian, they just got us from the start. You know what I mean? Like, and we want to understand where this Baby Yoda came from. And actually I would say the Mandalorian kind of mythology was actually really interesting. That was very compelling. And then also this developing relationship, as it were, between the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda was really compelling. I think they just really did a good job building the universe. We didn't spend all our time on Tatooine. That's the other thing I have an issue with for Boba Fett. It's like, it's all Tatooine, which I'm fine with, but I feel Tatooine is very been there, done that. Like, we've seen Tatooine a lot. There was actually this article on, I think, IGN, where it said Boba Fett or no, it said Star Wars has a Tatooine problem. And it was interesting because it was basically like, there's this massive universe out there, and we have definitely visited a lot of places, but honestly, like 40% of the entire Star Wars universe is just Tatooine, if you think about it. And I just feel that there's there's a kind of missed opportunity to kind of explore places beyond just Tatooine. I don't love Tatooine. There's just a lot of desert. It's very boring as a setting to me. And I'm like, at least for the Mandalorian, we got to see other places, and then we went back to Tatooine, fine. But I'm kind of just like, it's just desert all the time. And I don't really think, the thing is like, in terms of Boba Fett, I don't know the name of the actor that plays him, but he's just not, to me, very...
Tamora Morrison.
He's an old man that he doesn't really give me this threatening presence, like, to be a crime lord. Like, I'm not feeling it. He's like fighting like a Wookiee. I'm kind of not believing that he's even, at all like capable of doing that. It's just like, it's very unbelievable to me. And yes, this whole thing where I was complaining to you, I was like, why is there no staff? Like, finally, in the most recent episode from last week, Fennec was like, we should hire people. I'm like, bitch, come on. Like, you have money, you have resources. Like, why is it taking you like 4 episodes to realize that you guys need people to run your criminal organization? Like, I don't understand. There's just like these like logic choices that I do not get. Like, it's just like these things bother me. And it's like these common sense things. It's like, I know he's like a bounty hunter. They're used to working alone, but surely common sense needs to kick in somewhere. I mean, they're survivalists, so they must understand that, oh, look, all these other people have all these people working for them. And look, they're kind people to come kill us. So maybe, oh yeah, we have all this money, so why don't we do something with it rather than just sit on it? It's just like common sense. Like, there are these things that just bug me, where I'm kind of just like not. It's like it very much just it brings me out of the story sometimes because they're put in these particular situations, and I'm like, this should not even be happening. And then I'm glad we're past the flashbacks now. I know the flashbacks were important, but it just never felt very integrated into the story for me. It's just like, sometimes it was very destructive. I was fine the last episode where the whole thing was a flashback, fine. But it was like, for the most part, I'm not sure it really worked for me from just a storytelling standpoint. I realized that I've been going on for a little bit, but there we are.
I did warn our listeners that there would be a rant involved, and you delivered nicely.
I did. I couldn't help it.
You nicely delivered. One of the things that I said to you about the Book of Boba Fett, and so The Mandalorian is based on the Western, the lone cowboy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, and Jon Favreau has written this so far he's written all 5 episodes. He's not directed them, but he's written them, and he created this series. So based upon what we know about the Mandalorian being a base of coming from a base storyline of the lone cowboy on a journey, I said to you, I'm wondering, and I've never actually never watched The Godfather or any of the trilogy of The Godfather, but I'm wondering if this isn't sort of an Italian mafia based kind of the same way story where we're kind of seeing the prequel to The Godfather, and Boba is going to become the godfather of Tatooine or whatever, of this criminal empire, and this is sort of his beginnings, where we're kind of learning. He's come from another job, bounty hunter. He's also been out of commission for an unclear amount of time, right? So
very unclear.
He was killed in air quotes, sent into the Sarlacc pit at the end, in the beginning of the Return of the Jedi, and at some point he emerged. he got himself out of that, and so that's sort of his beginning, like the end of his bounty hunter and his new life. So the Sarlacc sort of birthed this new Boba, and he had to kind of redefine his life. He didn't have his armor, so there's that. I so there's that. I'm wondering if that's sort of the basis for this book, this whole storyline of Book of Boba Fett. My other thought is, I don't mind the Tatooine. I think that I'm actually really interested in the Tusken cultures. So we've seen, we've seen the Tusken culture or the family or group that he is a part of, which is very different than any other Tusken we've seen. So we know that there are some different groups of Tuskens. So I thought that was kind of fascinating. I think that Mos Espa is it's sort of like, it's not the hive of scum and villainy like Mos Eisley is, but it's that's a reference from what Obi-Wan says to Luke in Star Wars. Oh yeah, this is that's a direct callback that Mos Eisley is a something of den of villainy or whatever. And to be careful. And so this is a very different. Mos Espa is sort of similar but different. It's one of 3 cities on Tatooine. So I think we learned that in the Mandalorian.
I don't remember.
See, these are details that
these are details that you remember and I don't. Yeah.
So I think it's interesting. It might get a little rote, and I think that I actually really did like the flashbacks. I thought that was an interesting way to tell the story and to fill us in on the background.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind. It's like I don't mind the nature of the flashbacks, but I don't think personally it was. I don't think it was integrated well.
Okay. Well, I mean, he has these flashbacks during.
They're important. No, they're important.
No. He has them during his time when he's in the back to tank healing. So...
Yeah, but it's like basically like, oh, he's in the back to tank now. Let's do a flashback. Like, I was like, all right, sure. Let's rip ourselves out of the main story. Fine.
Well, I think that we're still, it's a slow build. It's a different slow build than the Mandalorian was. There isn't sort of
I have nothing wrong with slow.
No, I know. It's but it's just different because we don't have sort of that we don't have the Grogu of the Book of Boba Fett. So although we do get some like nice Easter eggs, like the Rancor. We get the twins, so Jabba's twins that are cousins or whatever. So we do get some of that. We do get Kirsten, which is a huge which is for me hugely exciting because it comes from the Dr. Aphra comic.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, so there's this whole Dr. Aphra storyline and life and there's a book out there about her now, and she's huge. But one of the people she works with is Black Kuristan, which is the Wookiee character in this. So which is really cool to see. So that sort of places that might actually be a hint that we might see some Dr. Aphra at some point.
I don't know what that is again.
You should check it out. It's really interesting.
It's a what? It's a book series? What?
It's a comic. So she showed up in the Darth Vader comic,
and that's not happening.
She's sort of like Indiana Jones, but of the Star Wars universe. She's a little bit more on the.
I was like, you mean like Han Solo? Like, isn't Han Solo the Indiana Jones of the Star Wars universe?
No, he's not. No, she's the one that goes after like relics and things like that. So she's sort of literally like the Indiana Jones of the Star Wars universe. So. Yeah, I mean, so that brings some of the comics into this. I don't know. I'm just really enjoying this, and as you said, Ming-Na Wen is 60 years old, and
God, she's 58.
She looks amazing.
She looks so good, and she is very she's very agile for a 58-year-old, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Very
Michelle
sprightly.
Yeoh is the same way, right? You know,
No, Michelle Yeoh is, I
a
think,
goddess. I mean, I love
well,
Michelle
I think
Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh is older. Hold on.
Yeah, I think she is too. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. You know,
Michelle Yeoh, yeah, Michelle Yeoh is 59, so they're
the same age.
same
Yeah.
age, pretty much.
So I'm enjoying it. I don't mind it. You know, I think the I like that we're building up the character, the mythology of Boba Fett through these flashbacks. And he's a different character than the movies. He's you know, I don't know, he's literally switching careers is what he's doing.
Sure.
You know, so I think there's some learning curve here, which I'm able to forgive, unlike you. But you know, you can't go from being a bounty hunter.
It's not like a learning.
I don't know that it's common sense
like,
for a bounty hunter.
But he also but the thing is that the whole backstory is he also realized that he can find strength in community, right? Like that's what we discovered in the last episode. So come on, like he recruits Fennec because he wants to not do it alone. So hire more people. Don't just hire Fennec.
Well, I don't think he saved her. He had her rebuilt.
Right.
She was indebted to him, but he did at some point after they got the Slave One. We'll call it Slave One, not Boba Fett's starship.
Sure.
We'll get once they saved that. She did choose to stay with him. He sort of did release her after she helped him get his ship back.
But he also realized that he couldn't do the job himself, right? Like to get his ship back. So, but then he also tells her, like he admits to her that, you know, his experience with the Tuskens, he says it very pointedly, kind of he found strength in that community. So if we're to carry that through in terms of a character story, then why just the two of them and a bot, you know, running this criminal empire? Dumb, whatever.
Well, yeah. You know, I don't
like incompetence.
You do not.
I don't like it.
Well, you know, so we've seen them steal Boba's ship back. We've seen them. We've seen fight scenes with Kuristan. We've seen the Rancor come back.
And then he walks everywhere. He does everything himself. And he walks everywhere. I can't. He's like he especially run the city by walking everywhere and you for context, you hate walking. So, but it's also it slows down the pace. It's just like he literally is walking everywhere.
Yes.
And literally it's him and Fennec. And then fortunately we have the two pig aliens helping out. Otherwise, just be the two of them.
The Gamorreans, or the Gamorreans, I think. And then he's recruited some teenagers.
And some teenage bikers.
On these very colorful bikes that have gotten a lot of attention. And a lot of people feel that they seem very out of place in this.
They're very out of place. And then also complain to you, he just recruits these bikers like on the spot. Doesn't do a background check. Yes. Doesn't do a background check. Doesn't suss them out, figure out who these people are. Like he just decides to basically trust these bikers with his life.
I honestly think that Boba should hire you. I think you should be Boba's manager.
But
running,
again, it's
running
common
the joint.
sense. And if you were to use the argument, he's a bounty hunter, then he shouldn't trust anyone, right? But he wouldn't trust anyone if he's a loner. Then he should actually do background checks on everyone. You know what I mean? If you're trying to like go with that philosophy, then if anything, he should be overly suspicious and not just hire anyone on the spot. So there is these character dumb decisions and inconsistencies that I'm not liking about Boba Fett, which is definitely drawing me out of the story sometimes. Okay. I'm not disliking it. It's fine. But if
I think Boba is
compared to Mandalorian, stuff like that's good.
Yeah, it's a different story than the Mandalorian.
And the Mandalorian was a very consistent character. He had a very consistent code, and you saw him evolve over the course of 2 seasons. Like he was I really liked his character development, and it made a lot of sense. I just don't really know who Boba Fett is.
Okay. Well, I think to some extent Boba Fett is lost. for lack of a better word, and is trying to figure out his way in the new world, having had the experiences he's had over the last, I don't know, however long. The timeline is very unclear. I don't know if it's like a couple years or what it is, however long it is, but I don't know. I did enjoy that he taught the Tuscans how to ride speeder bikes and that they took down the spice train. I thought that was really good. We do have the Pike Syndicate coming in. He did hold this meeting with the 3 groups of people who are running each third of the city, and he does sort of convince them to hold out from the Pikes. So that'll be, we're sort of building up to that. The Pikes are both from a lot of the animated stuff from some of the Clone Wars and Rebel, and maybe not Rebels, but Clone Wars for sure. So I think that I'm excited to see where it goes. I actually trust Jon Favreau as a storyteller. I think he's earned his way. I think he can, he's earned my trust. I can give it time to kind of develop and figure out where this story is going and take us there, and I'm sure if we were going back in time and we watched the first season of Mandalorian, we would kind of be asking the same kind of questions, like why would this guy take on this little kid? Why he is following his integrity, but he's also like he's breaking some of the rules.
Well,
but it was a very different story, and
it's a very different story.
So the Mandalorians also have this very big, storyline, tens of thousands of years. Like they've been around as long as the Jedi have been around, maybe even longer. Hard to say, but so they do have that longevity. Boba Fett's in the Mandalorian's uniform, but he's not Mandalorian. He is a bounty hunter, and this is an underworld that we're learning at on this desert planet out in the middle of nowhere. So kind of on the edge of the galaxy somewhere. So anyway, I think that gives a good rundown of what we think of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts, or are we good and we can move on?
Yeah, no, I think we're good. We can
and by the way, I really enjoyed this week's episode with Mandalorian. So okay. It is very Mandalorian-ish.
Okay. Got it.
All right. So let's do something that we haven't done in a while, which is go down and visit our dear friend, Counselor Troy, and do a little dishing with Deanna.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Come in. Hi.
You got a minute?
Sure.
Well, Johnson, so I think at the top of the show, we talked a little bit about the state of my life, but what is going on in yours?
Yeah, things are okay. I feel there's just a lot of adulting things happening right now that are kind of annoying. My washer dryer has been kind of broken for a few weeks. I've been trying to deal with that. Best Buy has come 3 times. I'm annoyed. I'm sending the whole thing back.
This is still not resolved.
No. Well, hopefully by next week it will be, but I don't know. Like Best Buy is coming to pick up this washer dryer that apparently has a defect. They finally figure it out. So they're coming to pick it up. I'm returning everything. And then I couldn't replace it because supply chain issues. Best Buy has basically no washer dryers available. Like no washer dryer sets. Like I've considered every single brand that would fit in my closet, and literally it's either completely sold out or the wash is available and the dryer's not available, back ordered, or the dryer's available and the washer is back ordered, and everything's basically just shit. So I told Best Buy, like, just take it all back. So they're taking it all back, and I bought a new washer dryer set from PC Richards.
Oh, I was gonna suggest PC Richards. That's where we get our fridge from.
Apparently, everyone loves PC Richards. I was like, why have I never bought any appliances from PC Richards? And apparently, they're a New York staple. I knew that they were New York staple, but everyone's like, don't buy the appliances from Best Buy, buy from PC Richards. I was like, no one has suggested this. So now I'm like, all right, I'm going with PC Richards. So they're coming to install the washer dryer next week. So hopefully it works. I just want it to be done, but we will see.
So you get a stackable unit again, and they're both in stock, and they're coming.
But it's a last washer of this. I got LG. Like, it's a last washer that they have. I'm like, if this is broken too, then I'm going to brand. So
okay.
So yeah, so there we are. So yeah, it's just some adulting things. Like, I'm dealing with, like, there's bank stuff. Like, I'm like closing some accounts because I have too many like inactive accounts. It's just like random shit that I need to like check off. It's just kind of annoying. And I did go on 2 dates this past weekend. As some of our listeners probably know, I tried going through a matchmaker. It didn't work out. I actually canceled my service at the end of December, but this matchmaker still sent along some proposed matches. One was in San Jose. I was like, sure. You start talking to the guy, and then the other guy is in Manhattan on the east side. So due to my frantic schedule, I ended up scheduling 2 dates on Sunday, one Zoom date, and then I had to run to have a dinner date. Like run from
running down the street like Carrie after the bus.
Sure. So yeah, it was fine. Both dates were fine. The guy from San Jose, I have more in common with, but like, he's a gamer. He's kind of like this like fantasy sci-fi nerd. He doesn't watch Star Trek, fortunately.
Fail.
I know, right? But yeah, the conversation was fine. It was fine. I don't know. Neither of us communicated with each other rather after. So I think we both probably felt the same. And then the dinner date, I was like, this guy's young. He's 30. He felt young to me, but I guess 10 years is not that crazy of a difference. I don't know. But the dinner date was actually good. Like, we had dinner for 2 hours. There was a lot of conversation, actually. It flowed very smoothly. And then, yeah, like afterwards, he texted me. So this is like, sometimes I don't know how to like deal with these things. So afterwards, he texted me, and he was like, and he texted me like 30 minutes after we left each other. And he was like, yeah, it was like nice seeing you. Definitely. And right after dinner, we had said, oh, we should meet up again or whatever. But I've said that on other dates, and nothing has happened. But in any case, yeah, so he texted me. He was like, it was nice being you. You have a great personality. Definitely keep in touch. And then I was like, yeah, it's great meeting you too. Like I said, I'm interested in meeting up again. If you're up for it, just let me know. And then he's like, yeah, I'll let you know. It's always going to be a weekend, but we'll get back to you. So the ball is in his court. And that was Sunday. And he hasn't communicated with me since then. So I don't know. Okay. I'm kind of just like, whatever. I'm kind of ambivalent about it. I don't even know if I want to follow up. It's like, whatever. So yeah. So,
well, I mean, it's worth the effort of just trying to follow up, and putting yourself out there again, like you have been.
I could. I mean, it's like kind of like, sure, I guess.
You're like, to what end?
Yes.
Well, just, give it, as our friend Tony said, who he's like, I shouldn't be giving he shouldn't be giving advice, but he's giving a lot of advice. He said, you should give it more than one date. And
no, that's true.
I think that is good advice.
Yeah.
But
because first dates are very, there's not much to go off of, and there's not much data,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'll follow up again, but I kind of left it in his court, so I don't know. If he's not particularly excited about it, then I'm not particularly excited about it either.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. But anyway, yes. So that's how the dating life is going. It's basically like there's some movement, but it's also kind of dead in the water, but not dead. It's kind of like comatose. So that's where we are.
The patient is in coma.
Right. Still breathing. So that's where my dating life is. And work has just been really crazy. So between like adulting and work and other things, I'm kind of just like, I feel very occupied. There's always things on the list to deal with.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure you feel similar.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. There's always stuff to deal with. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, yeah,
is Dennis doing the dishes? What's happening?
Oh, you can hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually doing the dishes tonight. So I did cook, but he said he'd do the dishes. So so that is the noise in the background, because I am in the front part of the house which is sort of like an open space between here and the bedroom. So it's an open layout for the most part, but not a lot else. Work has been really, really busy. So, I feel like I get caught up on some things and then some new things pop up, and it's just, I'm trying to wrap up this other project and hopefully sign a contract for some services that will save us some money, which is good.
Like your work. Will save your work money.
Yeah, work money, yeah. So, there's just a lot going on. And then, obviously being
and the dog.
The dog continues to grow. No, as I was explaining to one of the neighbors tonight, no unwarranted visits to the vet this month.
Good.
It's been nice. So he's eating his food, pooping regularly. All is good. We're in a very just steady time right now, which I'll happily take. So. But he is growing. He keeps growing.
Well, you said you were cuddling with him this morning.
Yeah. No, I get up and I let him into the living room where I'm sleeping on the couch, and he jumps up on the couch and cuddles up with me. So, so we get some cuddle time. Yeah, it's nice. But usually he gets bored or uncomfortable, and he'll move, and then he'll get down. But this last couple of days, he really hasn't done that. So he's been staying cuddling, and I've been the one who's like, okay, we have to get up now. Not that I want to, but life demands that I must get up and begin the day. So that's pretty much it. My niece celebrated her 10th birthday yesterday. So
yay.
So I FaceTimed with her and the rest of the family and get to talk to everyone, and I miss them. So yeah, but I don't know when I will be up there to see them. Oh, my nephews are in a play in March, so we'll be going up for that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, and maybe it's a musical. And they had to do singing, so
that's
singing audition. So they're doing a musical. I don't know the exact weekend yet. So I think hopefully we'll be going up to see them that weekend.
Okay,
which will be good. Yeah, so that's something to look forward to in March, I believe. So, but yeah, other than that, it's going to be low key and very low key until I get back from New Orleans, and then I'll be exhausted and probably sleep the entire weekend.
Basically, yeah, it's just
I get
time. that's our story.
Yeah, it's just it is a very adulting is tiring.
Just trying to
and navigating this pandemic and everything.
No, it's definitely been totally, like I said, inconvenient for you guys in particular. It's been
the last month, a little over a month, has been extremely challenging. So yes, but here we are. We're still here. We're still kicking.
Still have no choice but to continue living.
Yes, exactly. So
to continue adulting.
Yeah, that is pretty much everything that's going on my end. Any other updates or anything?
I mean, nothing of import. I mean,
nothing. Yes,
everything's
nothing.
Pretty much, I feel other than like just like random shit to deal with. It's pretty much all the same.
Yeah, there's really nothing more exciting. It's also been cold, this winter. Actually, the temperatures,
I'm looking forward to spring.
I am too.
Yes.
I think I said to you this morning. I was like, I'm looking forward to a beach and warm weather and where I can just disconnect again. And then I told our friend Tony he should have just stayed in Hawaii and bought a place so that we could come move there.
I mean,
but he said after 3.5 weeks he ran out of money and had to come home.
I know. So funny.
So sadness. But there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's
need money to survive.
Need money to survive. Must work. And yes, and being 6 hours off of New York time, which has got to be super difficult for a finance guy to deal with. So anyway, so yeah, all right. So there's a little dishing with Deanna, and let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor.
Yeah,
Fansets. Fansets is the premier sponsor of the Trek Geeks podcast network and Deep Space Pride. And if you head over to Fansets, there are so many pins. I can't even begin to. There are, just in their new releases section, there are 275 pins. I mean, new releases could be over the last several months, but that's a lot of pins just from the new releases. But they have tons of pins from Star Trek, obviously, because this is a Star Trek podcast, to Scooby-Doo. They've added Rick and Morty. They've got DC Comics. And this month, they've released 3 new micro pins, Lita, Wayun, and Galt. So go and check those out. And I actually don't know what's coming up for February 1st yet. So I'm always excited to see. That's actually next week. So we'll talk about the new releases for February next week. But head on over to Fansets now. There's so many great pins to choose from. There are over 400 Star Trek pins alone. And if you use the code DSPRIDE, all one word, you're going to get 10% off your order. And if your order is over $30, you're going to get free shipping in the US. So head on over to Fansets and check them out. There's so many great things to choose from. And we want to thank Fansets for being our exclusive sponsor and the sponsor of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network.
Thanks, Fansets. Cool.
All right. You want to tell our listeners how they can connect with us and share their thoughts on Prodigy, the Picard trailer, or Boba Fett.
Or The Gilded Age.
Which we haven't talked about, or Euphoria, yes.
Yes, you can reach us on Twitter and Instagram at Deep Space Pride, or you can email us at deepspacepride@gmail.com.
There we go. Next week, we'll just continue talking about part 1 of the 2-part finale or mid-season finale of Prodigy.
Okay.
And who knows what else, what other news and excitement we'll be able to talk maybe about your washer dryer and maybe my freedom from isolation. No, I'll still be isolated. But
the washer dryer journey just needs to end.
Oh, and next week is Lunar New Year.
Yes, Lunar New Year / Chinese New Year, February 1st.
So that's coming up, and
and we're having dinner.
And we're having dinner. Yes.
Well, I mean, I feel that Asian food is necessitated.
Yes, of course.
Must.
Yeah.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we
I'm
will.
like trying to like keep in mind your dietary restrictions. So
well, I mean, I can eat Asian food. It's just I won't eat seafood.
I understand. And no spicy food either.
Right.
But
anyway,
yes, but we'll figure it out,
and we'll talk more about it in a future episode. But next week we'll talk about Prodigy and who knows what else.
Who knows what else?
Cool. Oh, and Raised by Wolves actually comes back next week as well.
First season was such a fucking mess. I'm just saying. I mean, like, I thought it started out strong, and then I was like, where the fuck is this going? And then by the end, I was like, get me out of here. I mean, get me off this planet. Yeah. It's
definitely very
it gets too weird. It's too odd. But it's still sci-fi, decent quality. We'll probably still watch it anyway, despite the complaining in the notes. So
and the diatribes and the soapboxes and all of that. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you back here next week on Deep Space Pride.
Bye, everyone.
Deep Space Pride is a production of Coconut Media Works. Executive producers Bill Smith and Dan Davidson. For more great Star Trek discussion, discover the other shows of the Trek Geeks Podcast Network at trekgeeks.com or find us in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app.